It's so
Hi,
nice to have you on the podcast. How are you, my lovely?
I'm great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. I feel very honoured.
Well, thank you for saying yes. For the people listening that don't know about you and your amazing business, give us a little snippet of who Rose Savage is and what she does.
So I'm a bridal designer and dressmaker. I mainly work in bespoke bridal wear, and I'm also developing a collection at the moment. And I would say my brides are modern, they're fun, they're sassy, and they're just looking for something a little bit different, a little bit out of the ordinary. Yeah.
Ooh, she sounds fun.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your journey into dress design. When did that happen, and when did the passion for design and creating dress show itself in your life?
I was pretty young. I actually found some sketches from when I was about 6 of big giant ball gowns and a red wedding dress. So I think I always wanted to, I'd also always been into clothes. Like my mum found it very difficult to dress me because I knew exactly what I wanted to wear. And I always liked fabrics. I was always doing like crafts and cross stitch and all kind of stuff like that. And so I studied textile design at college, at university. And I actually went down the fashion route, even though I thought, oh no, fashion's not for me. Like I'm too highbrow for fashion. But everything I did along the way was fashion. And I'm totally fine with it now. I love clothes, I love fashion. I love that you can express yourself through what you wear. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as a child, would you go and look in shops and look in magazines and watch movies and dream of dressing these people, or was that not really the agenda as a child?
um I always I liked watching films, and I would always touch everything in the shops. And I always wanted to, when I realized that you could make clothes, it was like, oh, you know, I could express myself wearing something that I had in my head that what I couldn't sort of find. And my mum, she sews, but she's not really a sewer, so she didn't really know how to do it. So I got myself a pattern. It was a lovely crushed velvet number, which
Ooh.
very 90s. That was the first thing I ever made. But I just was obsessed, just always trying to make clothes, always getting the sewing machine out. And yeah.
Was there ever anything else on the cards for you? Did you ever dream of doing anything else, or was it always making clothes?
I wanted to be an actress. So I did a lot of drama. So like costume and acting and films and movie stars and all that kind of stuff was always in my head. And I think when I realized that I can't sing, I can't dance, but I can make clothes, maybe I should go into costume. I did actually do a bit of costume work as well when I was
Did you?
Yeah, I actually wanted to do that first of all. I applied to university. I applied to 6 universities to do costume design, and I didn't get into any of them. So that's when I went down the textiles route. And then after college, I ended up working in theatre anyway. So
it's funny how life finds its way out for you. So what specifically was it about bridal wear that really attracted you? And when was that moment? When did you think, oh, actually, that would be an incredible path?
It's not something I really thought about. It was just once I left university, I got a job. I interned with another bridal dressmaker in Bristol, which is where I'm based. And she made a lot of occasion wear, so there's lots of colourful dresses, but also lots of wedding dresses. And it's like, you don't often wear big fun dresses except when you get married. So it was like, aside from the theatre side, it was the perfect sort of route for me to go down. And I love weddings. and I love big dresses, so it was a perfect combination.
The perfect combination, absolutely. So let's go back then to the first dress that you ever made under, you know, the Rose business brand and name. What was it? Who was it for? What did it look like?
I think the first big one was my first wedding dress, and it was for my friend Susie, and it was very beautiful. It was a champagne coloured silk taffeta with a lace overlay and lots of tulle and like hand pleated on the bodice. Like it was very and all covered buttons down the back. A lot of intricate sewing work that went into it. And she got married, just a little side story, she got married on Dartmoor on a church which is at the top of a hill, like a top of it's an old extinct volcano, so it's quite high. Wow. And it was the worst weather. Like it was blowing a gale, and she came back down, and I'd previously, the week before or 2 weeks before, I'd spent a day hand sewing the hem, this beautiful lace hem. By the time she got back down from from the church, it was like mud ombre, brown, poked up, and I was like, oh. But actually, at the same time, you know, those pictures is going to remind her of that day. And even though I was a bit disappointed, you know, for all the hard work and the tears that I'd put into it, I kind of loved it, and she was so happy. And it's just part of it, isn't it? It's part of a wedding day. I don't think it needs to be pristine. It's just... No,
absolutely. God bless that hand sewn hem and the mud covering it. Sounds like an amazing wedding, though.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was fun. I mean, my hair was all over the place, you know, with a lot of wellies, but yeah, it was good fun.
They're sometimes the best, though. I think, like, you know, I can probably count. You get asked the question, what happens if it rains on your wedding day or the weather's bad? And even living in England, I can probably count on one hand the number of days that have been truly atrocious, because when it rains it usually stops at some point, but there's always that wedding, and it sounds like it may have been Susie's Dartmoor wedding, where it just does not stop from start to finish. But I think sometimes they're the ones that go down in history as, I don't know, you sort of feel part of the team a bit more. All the guests are rallying together like, this is awful, but it's gonna be amazing.
It's terribly British as well, you know.
Yes.
And it was fun. There was pictures. I remember there was pictures of my friends wrapped in bin bags, walking down with wellies in their like fancy satin dresses, walking down the hill. But it was fun. We had a great time.
Brilliant. Sounds amazing. I would love that wedding.
Yeah.
Rose, if you could design a dress for anyone in the world, who would it be? And what would it look like?
Oh, well, I would love to design something for Billy Porter.
Okay.
Billy Porter, he was in Pose. He wears amazing outfits to the Met Gala, and you know, because he's just really fun.
Yeah.
In fact, there's loads of people that I would really dress. Harry Styles, he's pretty cool. I'd love to dress him.
Mm-hmm.
And Lady Gaga, because it's very theatrical. Anything theatrical, I'm really into. And it would be a big jewel-coloured giant shoulders, and you know, maybe turning into something. It's all like all my theatre background coming in. You know, a quick change into something else. That would
wonderful.
Be really fun.
I'm picturing some sort of Hunger Games on fire dress in the chariot.
Drag race.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And sparkly, obviously. You know.
Obviously.
It's really camp.
I think Harry Styles would be very cool to dress, because I think you'd get, and I think this sort of taps into this idea of creating a business around your passion. When you meet people that allow you to really run with your creativity, run with your ideas, not put you in a box and say, oh, I've seen you do that before, or I've seen this picture on Pinterest, can you just rip that off? they're the clients you want, right? The
Yeah,
ones that give you that free reign.
Yeah, and it takes a little while for people to warm up, very understandably, because you're meeting someone for the first time and you're creating something for them that's kind of in their head, and they might not know what you're all about, or they might have seen your kind of thing, but it's quite a nervous thing, I think, for couples when they're planning their wedding and they're meeting all these new suppliers, and you've got to put some trust into that person.
Absolutely.
But yeah, well, after a couple of fittings, often my brides are like, yeah, do whatever you want.
You nailed it.
I love it.
Yeah, I do think it is. I think it's a good point. Like, it is hard because someone normal like me, I don't. I did GCSE textiles and I enjoyed it, but I am no dressmaker. We've had this conversation before, haven't we, Rose?
Yeah.
I am no dressmaker. I don't know how to use a sewing machine. I don't have the vision, and I think that's a huge part of it. It's not just knowing how to stitch fabric, it's knowing how to create a vision that reflects somebody's personality, which is essentially what a wedding dress does.
And also for the prospective bride, she's got to have a bit of vision as well, because you start with a sketch. You don't go into a shop and pick up a dress and try it on and be like, yeah, that's what it's going to be like. It's what's in her head and in your head onto a page, and then you've got to imagine it being made.
Yeah. What a wonderful thing to be able to share with your clients. I think that's pretty magical.
Yeah, it is a pretty magical process, which is why I keep doing it. I love it.
What's your I know you shouldn't really ask this question, but I ask it of everyone. What's your favorite dress that you've ever made?
It's really hard, that question, but I think last year in the first lockdown, I was a bit at end of a. Well, I didn't really have that much to do. I couldn't see anyone. I was sort of all my work was halted. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make something that I want to make. And I also wanted to learn a new sewing technique, a new pattern cutting technique, which was building bra cups into a bodice. So I was like, right, I'm gonna have a go at that. And I just gave myself the freedom to just have a play. And I had this sort of idea of what I wanted to do and what fabrics I wanted to use. But it was really just me and the mannequin and my sewing machine and just having fun. And I ended up making this pink blush dress, which I loved and other people really liked. And that was really lovely, especially because I work in bespoke. A lot of my outfits are bespoke, which is great because it's a combination of you and your client, but it's not totally my design. And just to be able to design something that was totally in my head, not for anyone, just me having some fun and letting my creativity kind of run away with me, was the first time I was like, oh, this is really good. I should do this more, which is why I'm now doing a collection, and it sort of gave me that confidence. But
it was amazing. That dress was absolutely, and if anyone's listening, go and find Rose on social media and take a look at this outfit and the pictures that you've got so many good photos of, like, almost the perfect person wearing that dress as well.
Yeah, it's quite adaptable as well. I've done quite a lot of photo shoots with it, and some people don't realize it's the same dress because so many people wanted to photo shoot it, take pictures of it. But yeah, it was fun. It does feel a bit like now I'm like onto the difficult second album, trying to create something is good.
The world awaits, Rose. The world
awaits.
I know. So let's talk about actually running the business, because running a business around your passion isn't as easy as you think it's going to be right back at day one, when you have this lovely idea of, well, I'll just do this forever and grow a business and make money. There are plates to spin, and there's parts of running a business that are less glamorous than choosing beautiful fabrics and sketching ideas. What do you think has been the hardest part of all of that for you and your business?
I think the plate spinning and having a business head as well as a creative head, like you just said, it's all very easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to make beautiful things and people will pay me money and that's my life forever. But there's so many other things that you have to do to run a business, and so a lot of those things aren't that fun. But I think nowadays I kind of take it as like, oh, I'm learning a new skill. I'm learning, this is a fun spreadsheet where I'm, tracking what goes in and out. And if you can reframe it to be like you're learning a new thing, and actually, as you see your business kind of moving forward because of those things that you've learned to do, the marketing, the putting systems in place when people contact you, your customer journey, all of that kind of stuff, you actually realize, oh, okay, yeah, it's not so bad. But it took a long time for me to actually realize that I was running a business rather than I was just me, somebody who's very good at sewing, and kind of thought my business would just make itself, if you know what I mean.
I totally know what you mean. Yeah, I was in exactly the same position. Is it then, Rose, do you think that to come to terms with some of these things that we have to do in our business to be successful, to come to terms with them, is it that we need to see the success of doing that thing to come to terms with it, to go, actually, all of my hard work on XYZ is now paying off. I feel okay with that now. Is that the penny drop moment?
Definitely. Because you sort of see other people doing certain things, or, I remember, I think it was at the beginning when I joined the Wedding Business Club, and you're a big promoter of mindset, and I was always like, well, I mean, I try and meditate, I do some yoga. I didn't really understand what mindset was, but when you actually realize that the way that your conditioning and the way that you run your business because of the way you work, it's inextricably linked to how your business moves forward. That those stories that you tell yourself, or that comparisonitis that you get, or your money mindset, those are the things that are like stopping you from doing what you want to do. And I didn't really realize that at the beginning, and now I do, and I can see my business moving forward because I'm working on those parts of my business, of myself and my business. When you see it, things happening because you've put other things in place, it's that's what makes you do it. And doing the boring stuff that you have to do, like content planning, it's good because now I know I have to push Instagram because I get most of my clients from Instagram now. And I wasn't getting that before. So
what keeps you, if we acknowledge this idea that we sort of admit that we need to do something, but we don't truly really buy into it until we start experiencing the result, what keeps you waking up in the morning and trusting and believing that that's the right thing to do?
What keeps me trusting that it's the right thing to do? I mean, I guess that you wake up in the morning and you have an email from a new person wanting to work with you, and if you ask them, where did you find me? And they say, oh, I found you through Pinterest, or I found you, and you're like, oh, you make the connection in your head, like that thing that I thought wasn't really working, or I couldn't really be bothered to do, actually does work.
And how about when the inquiry doesn't land in your inbox? What keeps you going? What keeps it? Is it just that? Is it trust? Is it faith?
I think because I don't think I could do anything else. That's part of it. Like, it's just ingrained in me. to keep doing what I'm doing. And it's not in any way that I expect the work to come. It's just I'm very gracious for this fact that I just love what I do. So I just keep doing it anyway. And it obviously is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And there are all those like little mind gremlins that come up and are like, oh, you shouldn't really be doing this because you love it. It's not really loud, is it?
That's a classic, that one, isn't it?
Yeah. And feel, all those gremlins that pop up. You just gotta.
But you did keep going, and you have kept going, and you're reaching for more. You're, like you said at the beginning, the next thing for you is launching a collection. There was probably 101 good reasons that a collection wasn't a good idea, but you clung to the ideas that made it a good option for you, and you've moved forward with it.
Yeah.
And I do think when you run a business around your passion, there has to be that connection with it, doesn't it? Because the chips are down sometimes. We've just experienced a year period of the chips being down in the worst possible way. But when you truly connect to something and genuinely love why you do it and how you do it in your business, it makes coming out of those situations so much easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. You have to love it, because especially at the beginning, because you'll have a passion for whatever it is you're going into, but you might not make any money, and you might not have any clients for a little while, and you might think, oh God, maybe I'm really awful at this and people are better at me. But you've just got to keep focused on that goal and on that kind of love and that passion for what you do.
Yeah. Rose, if you started all over again and you had a magic wand, God, love that magic wand, and you could do things differently, what would you change? What would you do? What would you have done earlier? What would you wait to do? What would you change?
I think I would have told myself that I need to reframe. I need to think about what I'm doing as a business, as opposed to just, I enjoyed my 20s and kind of, I had a fun time, but I was coasting and I wasn't really moving forward, and I didn't really understand why. And that's purely because I wasn't seeing it with this like business hat on. And one of the hardest things was it was quite lonely. It's quite a lonely job, especially when you work for yourself. Thankfully now I've got a huge group of wedding professionals that I can chat to. It's online, but it's still, I feel so much less alone than I did before. And I think, if I started out again, I would try and reach out, even if they're not in the same industry as you, just somebody who's at the same level, who's striving for the same thing, and somebody, the positive people who are going to push you forward, and can bring each other up. Yeah,
the power of community, I think, is huge. You're absolutely right. It's lonely being a business owner, and it's, I think, particularly in the wedding industry, because most of us are at home, or in your case in a studio, which is not in front of your client all day every day. That's not how we operate, is it? So that's nice feedback. What advice then would you give someone who's starting out today in their wedding business, apart from the go find yourself a community? What else? What's the goal?
Work on your mindset. So think about what it, mindset's such a huge thing. It's hard to just be like, this is what you should do first. But like, if something's not going right, or you don't know why you're not moving forward in a certain area, like your pricing, or you're not getting, I don't know, the right kind of clients, and you need to think about, like, why isn't that not happening? And then think, okay, well, I need to be looking at my client. Who is my client? That was a big thing for me, because before I was always like, oh, I just want everybody. you know, I want to make for everybody, but
Mm,
you can't do that, and it doesn't work either. So
no.
I think yeah, I mean, that's a lot of things for somebody to start out.
Well,
But
it's the nature of the beast, isn't it? And that's one of the things about being in the wedding industry. There are so many things to consider
yeah,
that add up to a successful business, which is, you know, why I tell people starting in, you can just one day announce I work in the wedding industry, but actually it's a much slower process than so many people think.
yeah,
It
yeah.
really is. We have you've got that ramp up period and a very slow sales cycle, which is what makes it different to so many other industries.
And that's why you've got to love it. You've got to keep that in your head.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, why would you do it?
Yeah. Is that what you do, Rose? When the times don't feel like they're great, is your default to go back to the origin of why you do this?
Yeah, definitely. To tap back into my creativity, and it's sometimes when I'm busy, it feels like I lose it a little bit, and so sometimes actually I really appreciate the quiet times, because that's when I can get my head back into the game and, you know, start creating again and sort of realize, oh, this is why I'm doing it.
That's a great way of looking at it. I love that. And you're right, that is a reframe of a situation. What a powerful one. What would you think is the one thing then that you've done that has moved the needle, excuse the pun, with the sewing, but if you're looking at the success of your business, what's the one thing, and I know it's a hard question, that you've done that has moved the needle or created the most success in your business?
Again, I'm going to come back to mindset. Creating my customer profile was really important, and working on my money mindset, I would say. Yeah, because those things are super important. If you know, if money is an important part of it, and obviously, you know, money isn't everything, but if you want to move forward with your life, you know, you need to be making money.
Yeah.
And when you deep dive into your money mindset, there's a lot of things that come up and that you realize are connected to why you're not earning enough, or why you don't feel like you can charge enough, or why you don't value yourself enough. And those things are really important to get on top of, so you can actually move forward and then find the people that need what you offer, kind of thing, you know.
Absolutely. What great advice. And you're right, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it does buy you opportunity. And with opportunity comes new ways of existing in your business, new ways of looking at your business.
And what we were saying earlier about those quiet times, I don't feel as nervous as I used to. And it gives, having some money in the bank to last me those quiet times, makes me feel comfortable enough to then go and create and keep that passion. So it's all
connected.
All connected, yeah.
Amazing. Well, that is fantastic advice for anyone who's listening, who's, you know, maybe in those early stages of their business and thinking, you know, where do I start with this whole thing? I think the sounding message from you, Rose, is that mindset really does play an incredibly important role.
You're the only person that's stopping yourself moving forward. You know, it can be, obviously the business strategies are really excellent things to know, but at the end of the day, if you don't let yourself do those things or believe those things, then you're never gonna move forward.
Amen to that.
Stand by for you.
No, it's so important. Thank you, Rose. Lastly, you're a member of the Wedding Business Club, which is why you're on this podcast, a very valued member. Tell me about your experience.
Well, I joined last January, so that would have been January 2020, and it was really the start of my business becoming a real business, as opposed to what I was talking about before when I was just sort of coasting along. And I found it honestly invaluable. just, you know, having that community there, which is, you know, great for asking questions and seeing what other people are doing and not feeling so alone. But you know, all the different modules, the mindset, that's definitely where my mindset kind of journey began. Yeah, I'm always banging on about how great it is. And, you know, people from the, you know, my friends who have known me for the, you know, the 10 years that I've been in business, they're like, your business has moved so much further on in the last year. And I do think a lot of it is down to the Wedding Business Club.
Oh, Rose,
I do think it's great.
Thank you. That means a lot. But you know, it's you that showed up and did the work. So well done you in what has not been an easy year. You know, I think you're fab. One day I will wear that dress that we've spoken about. Rose has designed an incredible dress, and I need an event for it. So I'll go away and make that event happen and then we'll chat. Rose, if people who are listening want to come and follow your journey, see your new collection, you know, check out that dress that you made from pure creativity during lockdown, where's the best place for them to find you?
So I mostly hang out on Instagram, and you can find me at @RoseSavage. My website, you know, is over there, rosesavage.co.uk. Occasionally I'm on Facebook, but mostly you'll find me on Instagram.
Fab. And when's the new collection going to be out there in the wide world?
It's next month, so April. So maybe when this comes out, very soon.
Oh, Rose. Oh, well, I'm so excited. Let's pick up and talk collection soon. But genuinely, thank you so much for taking this time to come and share what is such an important message for anybody who's running a business in the wedding industry. That was absolutely gold. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Faye. It's been great.
Thanks, Rose.